Hi everybody, here is the power moves in quadruped or on all fours on the floor. However, we're going to modify that because I know not everyone can get down and up from the floor. So we're going to modify that in standing. So the first thing you want to make sure you have is something that's sturdy. I'm using my dining table. You could use your countertop. You don't want something that's going to move easily and slide away from you because we're going to be putting weight onto the surface with your hands. But that's all you need is just a sturdy surface. And we're going to do them all in standing here. So these are the power moves, basic move for quadruped, hands and knees. We're doing it in standing. This is important to improve your trunk stability, your core strength. A lot of these movements you wouldn't normally do in your average day. However, a lot of these are needed to keep those muscles strong, help you to weight shift, stretch out some muscles. We do a lot of time in sitting during the day or with our knees flexed or hips flexed. And some of these exercises will help stretch out those hip flexors in your low back. And also some arm strengthening because we're going to do a lot of weight bearing on this table today. So we'll use those arms and those shoulders. Again, if you're sick, please don't exercise today. Rest until you feel better. And we'll get started, okay? So they're the power moves, power wellness recovery exercise program, Parkinson's disease specific exercises. And these are modified from the quadruped on the floor, but we're going to do them in standing. So stand about an arm's length away from your surface here, okay? And what we're going to start with is that power up move, that against gravity, posture building, holding yourself upright, strengthening those muscles that hold yourself up against gravity versus allowing yourself to get into that stooped position. So we're going to do some stretching and strengthening for those muscles. So we always start off with the power up. The power up today is going to be, instead of on your hands and knees, we're going to be on our feet and our hands. So reach out to that table. You want to be a good arm's length away from that surface, okay? Because you're going to lean onto that surface with your hands. And what we're going to do is a modified push-up here. We're going to lower ourselves down to the table, supporting yourself with your arms, and then we're going to push up. And as we push up, we're going to come into that power up, bringing your arms back, opening your chest, looking up towards where your ceiling meets the wall there. That's a good place to bring your gaze. Engage those fingers. And we're going to lower yourself down. We're going to reach out to the table. Don't fall. Control yourself with your arms. And then we're going to push up again. We're going to push and power it up all the way through your chest, using those muscles in your back to pull yourself up, powering up those arms. And let's bring your hands back down to the surface. Lower yourself easily towards the table. And then push up. Push it away and power up. We're going to do that one more time in our prepare mode. We're going through it slow so you can get the motion down. And push up and away. Nice. Now we're going to activate that. So we're going to do 10 repetitions, counting nice and loud every time we come up, nice and loud. So we're a little bit faster. So we're going to lower ourselves down towards the table, push up for 1, and down, 2. Make sure you're controlling your descent there. 3. Power it up. 4. Activate those fingers. Flat palms on the table. 5. 6. Push it off. 7. Make sure you come all the way up. 8. We're going to do 2 more. 9. And 1 more. 10. All right. The next move is going to be the rock. So the rock in standing normally is side to side weight shifting, but in the all fours or quadruped position or the modified position that we're doing in standing, it's going to be a forward and backward weight shifting. When we weight shift forward, we're going to drop our hips. So so we can stretch out those hip flexors that are always shortened when we're sitting all the time, and your back muscles. You'll feel it in your lower back as well. So now reach forward, get a nice sturdy weight bearing onto that table or that counter wherever you're doing your exercises today. Make sure that counter or the table's not going to slide away from you. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to drop our hips back. So this is kind of a modified child's pose. Come down as low as you can go. Dropping your hips all the way back, even letting your head come between your arms here. Stretching out your back, stretching out those arms in your trunk. And now we're going to come up and we're going to let those hips kind of sag down towards the table. If you can keep your heels on the floor, that's great. You'll get a stretch there. Don't let yourself sag between your shoulders. Keep your arms, your head up between your shoulders. Empower those shoulders and just let those hips come down. So you're keeping yourself up, look straight ahead, and let those hips come down as far as you feel comfortable going. And then we're going to bring them back again into kind of a modified child's pose here, bringing your head down between your arms if you're able. Go as low as you can, feeling that stretch all the way through your trunk, through the back of your hips. We make sure that you don't let your knees come forward like this. You're going back into your heels more or less. And we're going to come up and forward, weight bearing onto our arms, keeping our shoulders engaged so we're not sagging through the shoulders, and letting your hips kind of come towards the table as far as you can. You should feel a stretch in the front of your hips and in your low back. We're going to come back down again. So we're getting this movement down. We're doing our prepare mode, stretching your hips back, letting that head come between your arms, bringing yourself up and letting your hips sag. Right here, engaging those shoulders again. Don't let yourself hunch down and hang on your shoulders. Make sure you're engaging and holding yourself up, letting your hips come towards the table. We're going to do that, activate that now. So when we come forward, we're going to count. So we're going to drop your hips back and forward. Control it. 1 and back. 2. Take a breath in. Come up and count. 3 and back. 4. Breathe in. 5 and back. 6 back. 7. Making sure that you're controlling this motion, letting those hips drop but controlled. 8 9 and 10. All right, the next one is the twist. Okay, so this is, if you've done yoga, this is like threading the needle move. I don't know what the real name is, but and when we're doing it in quadruped or on all fours, we're lowering our shoulder right down to the floor. But in this one, we're just going to twist down. So you're going to stay in that with your feet right where they were, putting some weight on those hands onto that surface, making sure you're at a surface that's not going to slide away from you. Let's take that right hand and we're just going to loop it underneath, reaching like you're reaching over to shake somebody's hands, but don't shake hands these days, right? And then we're going to bring it up. You're going to twist your whole body. Follow the gaze, follows the fingers, and activate those fingers over your head. Reach towards the ceiling. And we'll do that again. We're going to swoop that right arm down through, reaching as far as you can to the other side. Maybe that right knee bends a little bit. And then swing that arm up to the ceiling. Engage that hand up there. Look to where you're reaching, up towards the ceiling. Feeling that stretch. And bring it down one more time. Loop it through. And bring it up to the ceiling. And now we're going to switch to the left side. So take that left hand, thread the needle right underneath your right arm. Maybe your left knee bends this time. And bring it, twist your body all the way up to the ceiling. Reach to the ceiling, engage those fingers up there. And we're going to bring it down right under your right arm, reaching to the other side. and then twist it right around up over your head, following your hands with your gaze, feeling that stretch all the way through your torso. One more time, we're reaching under, and we're going to twist it right up. Excellent. So now we're going to do an activate, and we're going to use a little bit of cognitive work here, dual tasking. We're going to switch right and left. So we're going to do a right back here and then the left. So we're going to be changing it up a little bit. We'll count every time we go up, so we're going to end up doing 20 because we're going to do 10 on each side. So let's take that right arm, we're going to come under, and we're coming up for 1, down and switch, reach under with the left, and up 2, and switch right, 3, and switch, left arm under, 4, and switch, right arm under, 5, and switch for the left, 6, and switch for the right, 7, and switch, 8, and switch, 9, and switch, 10, we're going to do 10 more, so we'll start with 10 this time, right arm under and up, 10, and switch, we're counting backwards, let's hear it, 9, a little cognitive work, 8, and switch, left hand under and up, 7, and right, 6, and under, 5, and under, 4, and reach, 3, and reach, 2, last one, and 1. Excellent. We have one more power move here, and that's the power step, that transition step. In all fours, if you watch that all fours video, it's where we're bringing that foot all the way up to our hands and bringing it down. Some people had a hard time with that. We can do that in kneeling, holding onto a chair with your hands, and standing, we're going to do it just pretty much the same way. It'll just be a little easier. Leaning on those arms again with your feet at least an arm's length away from the surface, because we're going to do a big power step. So we're going to load the spring. So you're going to drop your hips back almost into that child's pose again, not quite fully there. And when we come forward, you're going to push off that left leg and bring that right one, nice big step up as far as you can, right up to the end of your table here, the bottom. And then we're going to come back. And we're going to drop down, and we're going to step forward with the left and bring it back. So you're going to drop it down like you're loading up the spring, then pushing off with that left leg to bring that right one forward. Pretend you're stepping over a big curb, and then we're coming back. We're going to come back down and step forward with the left, okay? We're going to do that one more time slowly, and then we're going to activate. We're going to do 10 on each side. So one more time, step forward, big step. Sometimes I'll have people put something that they're stepping over in front of them to remind them to take that big step. And back. And I think I'm going to put a pillow there to make me take a big step. It'll just remind me to keep that large amplitude motion going there. All right, so we're going to load up that spring, and we're going to take a step with the right. 1, and back. Lower it down, big step. 2, back. 3, and back. 4, big steps. 5, I want you counting loud, using those lungs. 6, and back. 7, and back. 8, back. 9, and drop those hips back, and 10. Let's do 10 more. 10, and back. 9, and back. 8, 2 more, and back, 2, and back, and 1, and back. Nice. So we're going to do a flow now. We've got the four moves. Just be careful. I felt my table moving a little bit. I do have wooden floors, so it's kind of slippery. So if you feel the table shifting, you can even do it on your kitchen counter. All right, so let's do some flows. That's where we put all 4 moves together. We're going to do 5 flows. We'll do 1 flow to prepare, nice and slow, and then we'll put them together in a more activated motion, okay? So we're going to start here. Remember the power up. We're going to push off the table, come right down, push up and power it up, and back to the table. And then we're going to do the rock, where we're going to drop those hips back almost into a child's pose modified, and then we're going to come up and drop those hips into the table. Nice stretch, keeping your shoulders activated, and come back up. Take that right arm and we're going to reach through the twist. We're going to reach up with the right, back to the table. We're going to take that left arm and reach through and reach up with the left. And that's the twist, and then we're going to do the step. We're going to power, load up that spring, take that big step forward and back, load it up, forward and back. You ready? Power it up. So we're going to lean forward, push up and power it up. Back to the table. We're going to go into that modified child's pose. Up and let those hips sink down, stretch them out, and back up. We're going to take that right arm and reach through. Twist it up to the ceiling. Follow those fingers with your hand, with your eyes. We're going to reach through with the left and bring it up to the ceiling. And then we're going to drop the hips back to load the spring. Take a big step with the right and back. Drop down those hips. Come forward with the left. That's one flow. Let's lean into the table. Push up. Power it up. Back to the table. Drop those hips back. Head between your arms. Come up and let those hips sag towards the table. Back onto your feet. We're going to take that right arm through and twist it up. Back to the table. Take that left arm through. Twist it up. Back to the table. Power up that spring. Take that big step forward with the right. Back. Left. And back. 2 flows. 3 more to go. Drop your torso towards the table. Push up and power it up. Back to the table. We're going to go into that child's pose. Hips all the way back. Let your hips come back to the table. Back up. Take that right arm and thread it through. Twist to the ceiling. Back to the table. Left hand through. Twist. Bring it down. Load that spring. Nice big step with the right and back. So load up that spring. Left and back. 2 more flows. Drop your chest towards the table. Push up and power it up. Hands back to the table. We're going to drop those hips back. Head between your arms. Come up. Bring your hips towards the table. Just get a nice stretch. Back to position. We're going to take your right hand, thread it through, and twist it to the ceiling. Hand back to the table. Left hand, thread it through. Up to the ceiling. Back to the table. Bring those hips back. Load that spring. Right foot and back. Left foot and back. 1 more time. Push up off that table for a power up. Back to the table. Bring your hips back and down. Stretch. Come forward. Drop those hips. And back to position. Take a right arm through. Twist it to the ceiling. Hand on the table. Left arm through. Twist it to the ceiling. Back on the table. Drop those hips back to load up the spring. Big step with the right. and back. Drop your hips, left and back. And there you go. So that's a nice little workout. That's the modified power move in quadruped. So we were still on all fours, right? 2 feet, 2 hands, we just weren't on our knees on the floor. So what I'd like you to do is to practice those videos I've loaded up. Hopefully they're in the right order. And when we get to tomorrow's, I'm going to do some functional videos. So we're going to bring those power moves around the house for a couple days and show you how you can convert all of these moves and these exercises into daily activities in the kitchen, in the car, in the yard, outside. And then we're going to get onto the floor next week and do some floor work, okay? And the floor work, you can actually, if you've got a decently firm bed, you could actually do the floor work maybe in your bed. It's not the greatest, but I'd rather you do it there than not at all if you don't feel comfortable getting down onto the floor. So I will see you tomorrow. Stay safe and wash your hands.